Hey lad, how's it going? My name is Richie Ling, and I'm just a coordinator for study abroad options and Erasmus for students on flexible semester and study abroad. So really, I just want to put together a quick video for people, who might be interested in going abroad or studying abroad for their flexible semester. It'll probably be next September, but I'll leave this video up for students after that as well if the details don't change. So I'll just go through what the options are and, what information is there on grants and, a few other details. So if you want to drop me an email at any stage, do at orlingitwith.ie, or if you see me around, stop me and we'll organize a chat, just if you have any questions or if you'd like to know more about it, or if you're interested in going. So with Erasmus and study abroad, I kind of get the impression that there's a lot of people out there that don't quite know what it is and what the options are. So Erasmus is a European agreement. It started off as a European agreement that allowed students to travel between European colleges and universities. And it's kind of grown past that now. It's taken in, countries outside the EU. We've got Japan, parts of China, the US have come in. Now, we don't have agreements with these places, but we do in Japan, but not in the US. And I would hope to add more as time goes on, but for the moment, we don't have those as our agreed partners. So, I personally think it's a great flexible semester option. You can go for at least 3 months. The most common option is for people to go as their third year study abroad. There are other options for level 9 students or for people to go for longer or to take in, like potentially 6 months or even a full year in a place. But for us, I think it's most suited to flexible semester. It's different. It's different than working. It's different than certification. It gives a different set of skills. And, it might be something that people enjoy more than those things. So for some people, it's a great option. Because there's not many periods in our lives where we can take 3 months and travel when it's part of, our learning or part of our jobs. So it's definitely a unique and great opportunity. It allows us to make friends abroad and learn about cultures. And, in some cases, people might even like to learn a language where they're going. And, it brings a different set of skills than the other options for flexible semester. Now, I get the impression that a lot of people are worried about language, but nearly all modules are delivered in English. And if they're not, it's made clear that they're not. All of the modules that our students have taken are delivered in English. That's just a standard for students. So if you're going to Germany, if you're going to Spain or Norway, the modules will be delivered in English or be listed in the catalogue, and ones that aren't in English, you will be made known about that. So language isn't an issue when it comes to studying. So it's not something we need to worry about. So you might ask then, where can we go? We can go to, we've partnerships with maybe about 15 or 16 universities around Europe, but 30 countries take part in it. So we've got our EU member states, Iceland, Liechtenstein, Norway, Japan, and like I said, parts of America. And we have signed agreements with countries in the slide there. So, Spain, Denmark, Germany, all the countries listed there. We have at least one university in those countries where we've got a partnership, which means that you can travel there and their students can come to us. So you can't go to a university that's not on our partners list, because it's not a simple process to sign an agreement with a college, and there's legal issues. So you can't come to me and say, I'd like to study in Nice or wherever. There's a nice university there. There's no agreement, and the agreement process takes time. And even if it was to get the go ahead, it would take probably longer than this application period. So we'll only operate with the partners list that's on Moodle. And you can see all the universities there, and you can make a selection from there. Now, it will change. Like, I'm hoping to add Valencia in Spain to it fairly soon. So keep an eye out for that change. That would be a great destination. So apart from language and sort of country options, I think what people worry about most with this kind of thing is money and funding. And they worry that, Erasmus is too expensive, or, traveling abroad is just not for them because they can't afford it. But every student who goes abroad gets an Erasmus grant. Every student. And this can be in addition to your own grant. So if you qualify for a grant on SUSI, or if you have another source of income, this is in addition to it. It doesn't affect it. And depending on the country that you go to kind of dictates how much the grant is. It changes from certain countries. So the mobility grant, it's called, is intended to help you with the cost of traveling and the cost of living in the country that you're going to. And it's, it's not a huge amount of money, but it will definitely help fund your time in another country. So the grant, it varies, there's some countries that are just more expensive than others to live in. So the grant kind of reflects that. So if you're going to, we'll say, Czech Republic, Poland, Slovenia, Turkey, that belt of countries, and even Austria, Belgium, France, Spain, Italy, Netherlands, you get 300 euros a month for the duration of your stay. And then for the Scandinavian countries, it's 350 euros a month. And this figure may change. So if there's an update or an increase, I'll let you know. Students from disadvantaged backgrounds then, so you can kind of deal with the international office on this, can get a further 80 euros a month for study. And if you qualify for SUSI and you think you can make a case why you would need that, you can talk to International and they will tell you if you can apply for that extra funding or not. So it's usually paid in 2 installments, 75% at the start, if your documentation is submitted on time and everything is done, and then the final 25% when you return. So you just have to be careful with this. If you go on Erasmus and you decide you want to come home or you're leaving it, you may be asked to repay the grant. So if you engage with this process, you really kind of have to commit to it and see it out, because things can get complicated if you decide to leave it after a month or two, or you're not going to finish it, because you will effectively have been paid a grant for a period of time that you're not staying. And also passing modules, we have to be careful with as well. So you need to make sure you're working in the college that you go to and you're passing your modules, because if you have to repeat something, you may have to pay the college's fees, and it's not something that we can help you out with. So funding kind of clarified, there's a decent amount of money there for people to travel, and it definitely helps with the cost of travel and cost of living. You just want to have a think about accommodation then. So the partner that you apply for should have a list of suitable accommodations, or they might be able to help you in some way. But ultimately, you are responsible for your selection. So you would kind of have to look at the options and pick a place. It's not something that I or our international office will really assist you with. It will help you to get the list if one exists from the college that you're going to, but that's where that support kind of ends. So you would have a look around, find accommodation that you're happy with, but you just want to be careful with the details. Like, this just doesn't apply to foreign travel and accommodation. I'm sure people have experienced this in Ireland or in Waterford. If you're renting, just check all the details. So just clearly specify when you're arriving, when you're leaving, how much the deposit will be, when you get the deposit back, and just double check everything, all your details, so you don't get caught out with anything, so that you get your money back if you put a deposit down. So just be careful with that. So, once now we've kind of established, it's funded and you make your kind of accommodation selection in the city that you're going to, just to think about the benefits of it then. So like, why would you do this? Why would you go on Erasmus? The benefits of it are, you get an opportunity that you don't get if you stay here. And given that the modules are taught in English, it makes life a lot easier. And in some cases, in some universities, you can serve an internship instead of studying. So that's kind of like working, like I know Windesheim near Amsterdam, they operate this. So you would go and you would work on projects instead of taking modules. And your grant goes up. I think it goes up by 100 euros. And that would be it. You wouldn't get a wage as such, but you would work on a project there instead. It's a less popular option. I think people who tend to study. But, it brings benefits to us. Like, when we're in this environment and we're in another culture, it tends to mature people a little bit. And when they come back, I always see it with people who come back, they often come back more independent and confident and just more mature. And they might have changed their worldviews, they'll have traveled, they'll have grown as a person. And I see a change in people from when they return, even though it's just a short period of time. I think it's kind of like really accelerated growth or development, because initially it moves people a little bit into a situation that they mightn't be familiar with, and that always leads to kind of development and growth. It's subsidized, so you have your grant and you learn an awful lot of skills not taught in any classroom or workplace. So you learn about cultures, you learn about other locations and cities and people and language, and you pick up an awful lot of kind of, we call it kind of tertiary knowledge, or, you know, this extra knowledge that you may not easily pick up, or you won't pick up at all if you stay in Ireland. And, you know, in a lot of cases, people go on to travel even further, like, you know, they might use wherever they are as a base and then go on to other locations. Like I remember talking to the student we had in Malaga a couple of years ago. I went out to see how he was getting on and to meet his, or my equivalent there, and to chat about it. And he was going off to the Canaries for a long weekend because he had made friends with people in his class who were from there, and they were just going and just doing that little bit of extra traveling. And then at the end of his stay there, he was traveling around the south of Spain, and I don't know, they even went to North Africa on a ferry for a little period of time. So travel is a big option for people. And when you're in Europe, travel is very easy. I mean, you can hop on a train and be in another country very quickly. And, you know, making friends is easy because people are in the same boat. And, you know, part of it is, realistically, you want to have a bit of fun and have adventures. And that's what it allows you to do. Like, you know, you get to see things that you won't see if you stay here or if you just work. So how to apply then? What you do is you look at the partner list on Moodle. So it's on the information page on Moodle, which is a little bit tricky to find. It's a little bit hidden in Moodle. But look at that, all our partners are there. So you want to pick maybe at least 2 that you would be interested in going to, because each partner only takes maybe 2 of our students at max, only 1 in some cases. And it can be competitive then if a few people decide to go to, say, Malaga or Prague. It's always popular. You know, it'll effectively come down to like a job interview then as to who the best candidate is, and it's competitive. So you want to have backups if that happens for particular places. So once you've made your selections, your cities and your universities, an application form will be made available from International very soon, and I will notify you when that happens. They will also have an information session that will tell you all of these details, and you'll upload your CV to Moodle. So to qualify, you will have to have passed your modules to this point, so you can't be carrying any modules. If you're carrying a module now into third year, you won't qualify. It's our own criteria, because we want to make sure we're sending students who haven't failed here or aren't carrying modules because of the complications it causes if they fail a module abroad. So it's not straightforward if students fail something while they're on Erasmus. So like I said, places are limited and selection is not guaranteed for your first choice. So you'd want to get in early on it and show interest and do your research, and then I would have a chat with you about it when you apply. And, you know, I'm the person who makes the selection on it, so I would talk to people about their selections and why they're doing it, and would make a call on it in the case of several applications for the same location. So there will be some big dates coming up. International in WIT will hold an information session sometime this month where they will talk about some of the points I have, and we'll be able to give you dates, you know, application dates and information on application forms and that process. So hopefully that will happen pretty soon. I'll let you know when I know and when that date is set. So it would have to be done soon enough, because a lot of colleges close and universities close their applications in March and April for Erasmus. So we would want to have everything done by then, but it's yet to be organized. So I'll let you know. So what you want to do then, and other details you want to think about. So log on to the Moodle page and make sure and ask me any questions. If you have any queries or anything, just drop me an email and we'll have a chat about it. We can only send you to agreed partners. So people have emailed me about this with places they'd like to go. We can't send you to places that are not listed on Moodle. The agreements aren't there. Japan has yet to be added. It might be added by the time you look at this video. Obviously, that's a little bit more complex and further away, so it may not be for everybody. While it's an amazing opportunity, the grant is a little bit higher, I think. But I will add more information about Japan to the Moodle page anyway. I'm just waiting on a couple of details. So to travel, you want to have your European health insurance card. So like that's free. We should all have one, and you can just get a replacement if you don't have it. It's issued by the government. But you do need private travel insurance. If you're going abroad, you need it in case, you know, you're skiing and you have a little accident. You don't want that bill. That travel insurance will take care of it, but it's not expensive. Like, you know, I can tell you, I think my own policy, my travel insurance policy, I don't know, is it 35 euros or something. So if you look at the different companies, it doesn't matter who you take it out with. I think I have it with Leia, you know, VHI, all these companies offer it. Just go for a cheaper one. You know, you just have to have it there to cover you in case something happens. And you can work while you're on study abroad, but only if you're an EU citizen, or if you have the visa to do it. If you're not an EU citizen, there's no issue. That's up to yourself. You know, it's a personal choice to work while you're abroad if you want to pick up a few extra shekels for yourself. So just some common misconceptions then, because these are things that I've kind of encountered with people when I'm talking to them about Erasmus. So like I said, the modules are not taught in a foreign language. They're taught in English unless otherwise specified. There are supports there in our partners. So you would have a point of contact in the university you're going to if you have any issues. There might be physical or mental health supports there. Everyone qualifies for funding. You know, when it comes to the cost of living, in a lot of countries, it's less than here. Like if you live in parts of Spain, or particularly in Malaga, where I've experienced it, like it's cheaper there than it is in Ireland. And the accommodation is cheaper, and to go out is cheaper, and to eat is cheaper. So it's not always the high cost that you might think. Now, I know if you go to Denmark, or if you go to Scandinavian countries, it can be higher, or some of the cities like maybe in Munich, but it's often more or less the same or less. So, you know, a little bit of research can go a long way there, because I think a lot of people view cost as a barrier, when in actual fact you're funded and it can be cheaper. So people going on Erasmus from other countries are, you know, they're kind of eager to get to know people. So making friends is easy. There's a lot of people in the same boat who might be there on their own and looking to get to know people. And, you know, friendships are often formed as a result of that, and, you know, lifelong friendships in some cases. A lot of students often take up further travel, like I was saying, with their classmates. So they might take away for weekend trips or go on an adventure someplace. But you want to pass your modules when you're there, because, you know, not passing a module can be tricky. And you select your modules from a catalog. So if you pick, we'll say, Regensburg in Germany, which is a lovely place, and our staff actually go there. We have a couple of staff that go there every year to teach. It's a very popular destination. They will have a list of modules, and you select the ones that you want to take for your study abroad. And depending on how many credits you need to make up, you know, I think the modules are usually 5 credits each, sometimes 10. There's no harm to pick. I would encourage people to take an extra one, an extra almost fun one, you know, that might be different from what you're studying, or, you know, something that might be a personal interest, and just take it and have a bit of fun with it. But all that information can be supplied by the college that you're going to, and you make your selections then and pass the modules. So it's, like I said, it's a great opportunity. It's something that I'd like to see more people go on, and I'd like to see increase in the college, because, you know, it's a rare opportunity in our lives to travel for a long period of time. That's a part of what we're doing. We don't have to take time out to do it. And, you know, I personally would like to see more people going, because I think a lot of people come back more mature and more confident, and have had a really good time and really enjoyed it. I know the last probably 3 or 4 students I've dealt with had a great time, and would highly recommend it to anybody. And probably what I'll do from now on is get people to record their experience in pictures and videos, just so future students can see the good times and adventures and learning opportunities that people have had while they're there. So if you have any questions, like I said, drop me an email or stop me if you see me, and we'll have a chat about it and see what suits you or if it's for you. But have a think about it, because the dates will be coming soon, and you'd want to be looking into it now, because it might happen that a date is announced for an information session and the application date could be the following week. So have a look at the options there on Moodle, and stop me if you have any questions or anything at all, and we'll try and get you on a plane someplace. All right, lads, we'll talk to you.